In today's video, we're gonna start preparing those crusty shed door for paint. Let's get it done. I'm successfully making these doors look even worse than they used to. It's not stupid if it works. Hi, welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, my name is Veronica and I'm currently renovating my 500 square meters allotment garden in the city center of Warsaw. Or more specifically, I'm currently renovating my garden shed. I'm trying to turn it from a gigantic mess to a clean and organized space where I can keep all of my garden equipment. There is so much that I have already done as a part of this shed makeover. I cleaned out the entire area around the shed, removed all of the clutter. Then I moved to the inside of the shed and cleaned years and years of trash that were stored inside. And this cleanup was very necessary, but after weeks spent on removing the trash and cleaning up, I really want to start making some pretty progress. So today we move to the exterior of the shed to start preparing it for paint. And there is a lot to be done. We're starting from cleaning up the doors, but then we will move to windows, scrubbing the walls, patching some holes, and only then we will actually be ready to paint this shed. So these doors definitely have a lot of issues. And for a while I was wondering if I should just replace them completely. But then I thought to myself, it's just a shed and it doesn't really need new doors. I'm pretty sure I can still get some good use from these if I only put some work into it. So I decided to try to renovate it. If at any point I will be able to get good second-hand doors, because I don't think it makes sense to buy new doors for a shed, I might replace it in the future. But for now, let's work on this. The main problem is, of course, the paint. The door has been covered in a couple of layers of paint that at this point is completely flaking off and barely holding on to the surface. Also, these doors, it's not solid wood. I think it's a plywood or similar material, and in a couple of places you can see that the layers of wood started separating. Except of that, we will have to clean the hardware and do just general maintenance of this door. And I hope there will be no more surprises. First of all, we're going to brush the whole thing, get rid of all of the pieces of the paint that are already loose and ready to fall off. Then we will attack the more stubborn ones with a wire brush. And then I also have a couple of spatulas that I can use to just kind of like scrape off any paint that's left. Let's hit it with a wire brush. I'm successfully making these doors look even worse than they used to. I think I have successfully removed majority of the paint that was completely flaking off the doors. So now it's time to grab the spatula and scrape off everything else that is not properly attached. You know, the good part on working on a shed door is that they don't have to look perfect. They just have to look acceptable. So you don't have to put that much attention to detail. You know, you can just call it rustic. This is definitely not a completely flat surface yet, but there's no big flaking pieces of paint. So a big improvement. I hope it's one of those projects where it has to get worse before it starts getting better, because this looks pretty bad. Day 2, and it's going to be a hot one. It's supposed to be 34 Celsius, that's 93 Fahrenheit. So it's going to be a hot day, but we have to get rid of all of the flaking paint from the inside of this door. So let's get going. This went pretty smoothly yesterday. Okay, I have an idea, but it might be a stupid one. Jesus Christ. The problem with this door is they're not very heavy, but they're awkward shape. So it would be much easier if I could just roll them. It's not stupid if it works. For this side of the door, we're going to be using pretty much the same process as we did for the other side. So first metal brush, and then we're going to scrape off all of the loose paint using a spatula. It's coming off right away. This is how much paint I've scraped off this door. As always, I underestimated this project a little bit. There was 5 layers of paint. There was a brown, gray, and then 2 different greens and yellow. So it was a lot of paint to scrape. I have not removed all of the paint, but I don't think it will be necessary. At this point, I think it's going to be easier to just remove it with a sander. This sander is doing really good with those places where you just have a little bit of paint left over. To be honest, it's not doing great in those spots where we still have like big patches. This paint will not go easy, so I think it's back to scraping. First, let's turn around, let's sand the other side of the door, and there's some gluing that I have to do there as well, so let's do that first. This side, almost ready for a primer, and then we have this side, not quite yet there. Welcome to day 3 of getting absolutely cooked while trying to strip the paint of my old shed door. And yesterday I tried unsuccessfully to sand these 5 layers of paint from the inside side of the door. And it didn't work very well. So today we are back to trying to scrub off all of this paint using a spatula. It's gonna be hot, it's gonna be exhausting, but we're going to get it done, and we're going to get it done today because I'm not coming back to this project tomorrow. Actually, scrubbing it's not a bad job. If it was cooler, I think I would really actually enjoy this. It's kind of relaxing. The paint is coming off relatively easy, but it's getting very hot. I'm on a highway to hell. Oh. If you're wondering whether these old shed doors are worth all of this trouble, trust me, I'm having exactly the same thoughts. I moved to a shady spot and it's so much better here. Unfortunately, this garden is not getting a lot of shade, like in the summer, in between like 1 to 3 o'clock. So I had to work for a couple of hours in full sun, but now it's much better. Of course, the last 2 patches that I have to remove are the most stubborn of all of them. Like, they just don't want to come off. Okay, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's done. It's done. It's not the prettiest job, I must say, but it's done. All right, finally, after 6 hours, I mean, I had some breaks, but in general, I've been here 6 hours scrubbing this side of the door. And finally, it is ready. So let's now do a rough sanding, fill in all of the holes, glue what needs to be glued. And I think, unfortunately, we will have to put the primer on tomorrow because we don't have enough time today. But we're almost there, we're almost done. It took a while, but finally all of the paint is removed from both sides of the door and I just filled all of the gaps with wood filler. So I'm going to let it dry overnight and tomorrow we will be ready for final details and priming. Today is day 4 of this project and we're finally ready to wrap it up. I'm extremely excited. I'm going to start from giving the door a light sand and then I will see if there's any more spots that need wood filler. And then let's take a look at the hardware. I kind of didn't want to remove the hardware because, to be honest, it's so old that I'm afraid that if I remove it, I won't be able to put it back together. And I really need this door to be just functional and actually lock. So I really don't want to mess too much with the hardware and remove it completely, but I'll see what I can do to make it look a little bit more presentable. And then the last thing we need to do today is put some primer on and we're done. Let's clean this up. Ladies and gentlemen, this memorable event will finally take place. The doors are now ready for primer. I filled in all of the gaps with wood filler. I sanded down the surface. Let's paint. this is just a primer. The door will not stay white. I'm going to be adding color to the door and in general to the exterior of the shed. Right now the house is like just very white and plain, so I definitely want some color. But we have so much work to do still before we can paint. I need to fix the windows, then I have to scrub the walls, and it's going to be a lengthy process. So we're not quite ready to paint. For now, I'm just going to prepare all of the surfaces, prime them, and the paint will be basically like a last step. One thing that I would like to mention, because I know that if I want, somebody definitely will in the comments. I know that the way that I'm doing things is often very unconventional and often just wrong. The truth is, I'm just a girl. I'm just a beginner who's renovating their garden house, and many of the things that I'm doing here, I'm doing for the first time, and I don't know the best way to do it, or I don't have the tools to do it the right way. I approach this renovation project as any issues in life. I just try to identify what the problem is, then check if I have any tools that can help me solve it, and then I'm just doing my best. And I'm 100% sure that there's so many better ways to renovate wooden surfaces that are painted and the paint is not in a good condition anymore. And if you do know those ways, please let me know, because I have an entire wooden shed that is struggling with this exact issue. Like, the paint is peeling off the windows, the walls, it's peeling off everything. So please share your experience, your information. I would love to have this opportunity to learn from you guys.
Oh my god, I did it.
Okay, now that I see them hanging here in the frame, they look much better than they did back on the table. Because when I was working on them, I was like, what the heck, this is going to be the most boring video ever. Like a transformation from a completely destroyed white door into a just slightly better looking white door. But now that I actually see them here in place, I see that the difference is actually huge. Let me show you. And how do you guys like it? I know it's not a final result yet, but I think they already look so much better. Would I work on them again for 4 days during a heat wave? I'm not so sure, but I definitely like the results. If you like this video, you know what to do. Like it and subscribe to the channel to follow my progress on this renovation journey. Thank you so much for watching today, and see you next time. Bye!